Hello, and welcome to another episode of Esri Press Interviews. I'm Keith Mann with Esri Press, and today I'm talking with Pat Hohl about a new book from Esri Press called Delivering Water and Power GIS for Utilities. Welcome, Pat. Thanks for joining me today.
It's my pleasure, Keith, and thank you for the invitation.
I was remembering when I first approached you about doing a book for the Applying GIS series, which is sort of a new concept for Esri Press. And with hardly any discussion, you were on board immediately. And then we spent like a long time talking about the topics we wanted to cover, the case studies we wanted to showcase, and really the stories that we wanted to tell. And I have to say that you got me really excited about how utilities around the world are using GIS right now. Can you tell me where this enthusiasm comes from?
Well, sure, Keith. I'm an electrical engineer by training, and so I love solving problems. And today, utilities face many challenges. So, as we talked about the structure of the book, you had me at stories because people love stories,
Yeah.
and it's how we've always related ideas. And I thought this is a magnificent way to communicate about success within the utility industry. And it had been a number of years since I worked on a book project. So I was 100% ready to dive in with you.
Well, when I was preparing for this interview, I went back and looked at your bio. And Pat, you have been in the utilities industry for quite a while. I'm wondering if you could take a few moments to talk about uh, your experience in the utilities industry, but also about how you got started with GIS.
Sure. Well, you're right. I have spent my entire career in utilities. And as an engineer, that means I've done design work, but I never turned down a chance to do something new. And that means that I spent 8 years in field operations. I worked in nuclear power and I even spent some time in leadership. But I also worked on some very key technology projects. And I first was introduced to GIS in the 90s. And to me, this was a groundbreaking idea to understand utility systems and the work that we do by location. If you think about it, assets, customers, crews, I was fascinated that everything that a utility cares about revolves around location. That lens of location is really a great way to capture that information, to understand it more effectively, and even to be able to share it with other people. And so now I have the privilege to share what I've learned and help our users improve their work.
What I think is interesting about this book is that it's about sparking ideas and also showing the reader how to, apply GIS to problem solving. This book is, in my mind, really about taking the first steps towards using location as a tool for decision making and also creating a different view of what's going on in the day-to-day operations and sharing that information throughout the organization. Pat, what do you think the benefits of this book are?
If you look at any technology, less than 20% of the people are what you would call early adopters. So it's very helpful for most people to learn from others' experience, to see what's possible and to copy the very best ideas. And today, utilities are trying to leverage new technologies. They want to improve their workflows. So I hope that users will see how others have made improvements and then be inspired to do the same.
Yeah, I agree. We've kept it simple and relatable, I think. Can you tell me some other things that you like about this book?
Well, let's just be practical for a minute. I like the book because it's got a fairly small format and it's easy to read, right? This soft cover version is just about 8 inches tall. And at just over 100 pages, it's pretty easy to read. And it's well organized into 4 topics. And the thing I like here is that readers can just jump straight to the topic that they're most interested in. So those 4 topics are resiliency and reliability. a very key consideration for utilities, operational flexibility, safety and security, always a big issue, and of course, customer care, which is increasingly more important to utilities around the world. It's also available as an ebook, so you could also read it on your device if you chose to.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that each of those topics that you spoke about include 4 hand-selected case studies about how different types of utilities, including electric, gas, and water utilities, are using GIS today.
That's right. And I'll also add that each section includes a getting started. And in there, there's a set of very basic strategies and resources and solutions that utilities are using today.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, this book is obviously with its compact form and 100 pages is easy to carry. It's also really easy to read and navigate, as Pat mentioned. And I think it gives you a way to start talking about using location and GIS within your organization. Pat, I know that your team is very active in the utilities industry and that you are laser focused right now on infrastructure. Besides this book, what other resources do you recommend?
One place that I would point people is the Esri.com industry pages for utilities, water, gas, or electric. On each of those, you'll find a page dedicated to community. And there are upcoming events, articles, and even other case studies that are not included in this book. It's a wonderful resource and a great place to get started. I would also encourage anyone to connect with me on LinkedIn. I filter a lot of material and post very frequently on relevant utility topics. And please feel free to direct message me if I can be a help to you.
Thanks, Pat. So when you're looking for that next book to read, please consider Delivering Water and Power, GIS for Utilities by Pat Hohl and myself. It's available now at most book retailers. And don't forget that you can find more Esri Press interviews on YouTube. Well, that's it for now. Thank you, Pat. Always a pleasure talking to you. And thank you for watching.